Good morning, everyone. It's Rylie Cook, aka the OneWheel Realtor, and I am back from Florida here in beautiful Toronto. Unfortunately, it's not quite the 30 degrees that I was having down there, but great to be back nonetheless. So today, we're actually going to talk about this guy right here, One Yonge Street. This is the latest luxury product to be coming out in this city, and there's no easy way to break it to you. It starts at $1,200 a square foot. So that's a lot of money. $1,200 a square foot, that's a lot. But what does that actually break down to, say if you want a one-bed unit? Well, those one-bed units start at 518 square feet. They are west-facing, and they are between the 8th to the 54th floor. And these are starting at $619,000, and that's just for the base level. If you want to go up any floors, you're paying an additional premium past that $619,000. Say you want a 1+ den. Well, that's going to get you 596 square feet. That's going to be north-facing, so towards the city, so no south-facing Lakeview, anything like that. 8th to the 34th floor. And those start at $709,000. To break that down, it's $1,191 per square foot. That's a lot of money. So let's say that square footage isn't big enough for you for that 1+ den. Well, if you want 696 square feet, northwest facing, so this way, on the 8th to the 54th floor, starts at $829,000. And again, that breaks down to under just $1,200 a square foot. Let's say you need 2 beds. Well, a 2-bed unit, 759 square feet, northeast facing, so again, right in towards the city, starts at $895,900. So let's say you need a bit more space. Say you've got a family. You want a 3+ den with 1,600, 1,700 square feet. Well, One Yonge does have that for you. However, it starts on the 36th floor, goes up to the 54th floor, and the prices start at $2.59 million. And to give you a breakdown, that comes to $1,535 per square foot. That has historically not been something that we see down here in Harbourfront. There was a new release for the One Bloor building. That is the new Pinnacle building on the southwest corner at Yonge and Bloor. Those prices came out back in October, and they had fairly similar pricing, but those were, again, $1,300, $1,400 per square foot for an area that is traditionally known as a luxury market in Yorkville. And it's very interesting to see these prices come down to Harbourfront, but are they really justified? Well, if we look at some of the most recent comparable sales for Harbourfront, we can see that they're actually selling in the $800 to $950 per square foot range, which if we extrapolate that out at the 15% appreciation that we've been seeing for the past couple of years, for the next 4 years until we get to that completed projection date of 2022 for, say, One Yonge or One Bloor, that would give us an appreciated per square foot value for $1,400 to $1,550 per square foot down in Harbourfront. So the projections aren't too far off, but what are the potential downsides and pitfalls of investing so much money in something that's not even built yet? So while these prices actually seem pretty in line with the projected appreciation for the area, it is still possible to overpay for one of these luxury units. And there's a lot that you have to take into account when purchasing pre-construction, and especially such a luxury product. But the big thing that you have to look for is, are there going to be any other buildings happening around you that could potentially affect the value of your building once it's actually finished? You have to think that right now, that place is an empty parking lot or an empty lot or whatever. It's an empty something. And so right now they might propose, say, a 65-story building, which for the area is quite tall. But you have to think in 4 or 5 years, is that still going to be the same Hallmark building that it is right now. And unfortunately, in the case for One Yonge Street, it's not. It's actually the first phase in 3 phases that the building has going on. The first phase is going to be 65 stories on the southeast corner. The second phase is going to be 80 stories just north of that. And then the third phase is going to be 95 stories to the northeast of that. So you have to be very conscious that the building that you're buying is not the only building in that area potentially. And unfortunately, the rest of Queens Quay still has a lot of development to be done to the east of this project. So how do you go about solving some of these issues that you can have when you're buying luxury condos pre-construction? Well, the first thing that you can do is hire a professional like myself. This is what we get paid to do. We get paid to do our research to make sure that the investment that you're making is actually worthwhile. So what we're going to do is look at those floor plans in great detail and see, is this actually a functional floor plan? Is it the best use of the space that they are giving you for the money that you're spending? And this is becoming increasingly harder to do because there's more floor plans, and you know what, they do some very odd shapes these days that might look good on paper, but until you've actually seen them in real life and say, oh, these don't actually work out, you won't know. And this is where our experience can come into it. Also, we'll look and we'll go and see the area. We'll look to see if there's any other projects gonna come around. If there's a condo gonna be built right across the street, we're gonna notify you. And what we'll also do is negotiate on your behalf. And it's getting harder and harder to get some deals from pre-construction projects because these builders do hold a lot of the power in their hands when they're selling them. But we can sometimes negotiate things like getting you a locker, getting you a parking spot if you're not eligible for them because they're typically restricted to 2-bed units or larger. We'll try and get your assignment fees capped. We'll try and get your occupancy fees capped if possible. So we'll do as much as we can to ensure that your luxury purchase is as successful and smooth as possible, because we want to make sure that when you call us in 5 or 10 years and say, hey, I want to sell this, we feel good that we can actually sell that property at a good appreciated rate for you so that that investment's worthwhile. You can also do some stuff at home. You can do your research and figure out, okay, am I actually comfortable with this builder? Do I like their track record? If the past 4 buildings that they've made all have systemic problems now, that might be something that you want to take into account before you put your money down with them. And you need to say, okay, I've done my research about this builder, about their property management, about how they handle everything, and I feel comfortable with it. Because when you're spending $1,200 to $1,500 per square foot, you want to make sure that every single nook and cranny is done exquisitely. Otherwise, it's not worth your money. And then you have to also make sure that you actually like the area that you're buying in. You have to think that you might like the area now, but is that area going to change over the next 4 or 5 years while that condo is being built? So I hope this video gave you a little bit of a breakdown on how to approach luxury condos. If you have any questions or comments, leave it in the section below and I'll be sure to address it for you. I'll catch you on the next video. See ya.